Laughter filled the air. Music pulsed, creating an atmosphere of pure joy and celebration. Mike Lowry, his face aglow with happiness, held his bride Christine close. They were the picture of love and contentment. Their first dance as husband and wife was a moment to cherish, a memory to hold on to forever. The reception buzzed with celebration, a testament to the love and support surrounding the couple. Friends, family, fellow officers, all gathered to share their joy, to witness this beautiful union. Marcus Burnett, Mike's partner, his brother-in-arms, beamed from the sidelines, his heart swelling with pride. He raised his glass to Mike and Christine, a toast to their future filled with love and happiness. May your love conquer all. The words echoed, a blessing for the newlyweds. The night shimmered with promise, the air thick with hope and dreams of a bright future. Mike, finally embracing a future filled with love and light, felt a sense of peace he had never known before. Marcus, his heart full, proud to stand beside his brother, knowing they had both come so far. Years of danger, of facing down the darkest corners of the city, seemed to fade away in the warmth of the moment. Life was good, and the future seemed bright. The bond between the detectives, unbreakable, forged in fire and tested by time, was stronger than ever. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. The sky seemed to darken, a foreboding sign. As the music swelled, Marcus felt a tightness in his chest. A dizzy spell washed over him, unexpected and alarming. He stumbled, his vision blurring, the world around him spinning out of control. The laughter, the music receded, replaced by a ringing silence. Concern etched on every face. He crumpled to the floor, his eyes fluttering closed. Panic erupted. Christine screamed, her joy turning to horror. Mike rushed to his partner's side, his own joy turning to ash in his mouth. "Marcus, stay with me," he pleaded, his voice breaking. The ambulance arrived in a flurry of sirens and flashing lights, the urgency of the moment palpable. Mike, his face etched with worry, rode with Marcus, his hand gripping his partner's, praying for a miracle. Darkness enveloped Marcus, a void, cold and silent. Then a voice, familiar, gruff, laced with authority. Marcus. He turned, his heart pounding. Standing before him, a figure emerged from the shadows. Captain Conrad Howard, their mentor, their guide, gone too soon. His face, etched with concern, held a glimmer of something else. Urgency. "Captain," Marcus whispered, his voice hoarse. "What's happening?" "Your purpose," Howard stated, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness. "It's not yet fulfilled." Marcus frowned, confusion clouding his thoughts. "What do you mean? I'm supposed to be with Mike. He needs me." Howard shook his head, his expression grave. "There are things you don't know, Marcus. Truths buried deep. You need to find them. Clear my name." "Clear your name?" Marcus echoed, his brow furrowing. "But you were a good cop. The best. Even the best," Howard said, his voice laced with sadness. "Can be framed, Marcus. Remember that." His image began to flicker, the edges blurring. "Find the truth, Marcus. For me, for all of us." Then darkness again. Silence. The voice faded, leaving Marcus alone in the suffocating void. He wanted to reach out, to grab hold of his captain, to understand. But the darkness held him tight, and the only sound was the frantic, echoing beat of his own heart. The news report crackled in the sterile hospital room. Mike, his face pale with shock, stared at the television screen. The words, stark and accusing, seemed to hang in the air. Captain Conrad Howard, celebrated police captain, under investigation for corruption and racketeering. "No," Mike breathed, his voice barely a whisper. "It can't be." He turned to look at Marcus, still lying comatose in the bed. "They're slandering him, Marcus. Our captain. The man who taught us everything." His voice cracked with emotion. He wouldn't. Days turned into weeks. Marcus remained trapped in his coma, haunted by his encounter with Captain Howard. Mike, consumed by grief for his partner, and disbelief over the accusations against their captain threw himself into investigating the allegations. He knew, in his gut, that something was wrong. Captain Howard, a man of unwavering integrity, wouldn't be involved in something like this. He pored over old case files, interviewed former colleagues, chased down every lead, every whisper. The more he dug, the more convinced he became that something was amiss. The evidence against Howard felt fabricated, planted. Someone was setting him up, even from beyond the grave. But who and why? The answer, when it finally arrived, came from the most unexpected source. A ghost from Mike's past, a shadow he thought he'd left behind, his estranged son, Armando Aretas. The meeting took place under a veil of secrecy, in a dimly lit diner on the edge of the city, the kind of place where secrets are whispered and shadows seem to have a life of their own. Mike sat across from Armando, a young man he barely recognized. The years had changed them both, but the tension between them was unmistakable. Years of resentment and unspoken pain hung heavy in the air between them. It was as if the diner itself was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. "You want to talk about Howard?" Armando asked, his voice laced with cynicism. His eyes bore into Mike's, searching for answers. "What's it to you? He was just another cop." Mike's response was sharp, almost offensive, as if he was protecting a sacred memory. "He was a good man," Mike countered, his voice low, laced with warning. "A man who didn't deserve what happened to him. And someone's trying to drag his name through the mud. I need to know why." Mike's determination was palpable, his eyes burning with a need for justice. Armando hesitated, his eyes darting around the diner, as if expecting trouble to walk in at any moment. The weight of the conversation was getting to him. "I heard things," he finally admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Things that could change everything. Things about Howard. About a drug cartel he was investigating." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. They called it the Syndicate, a name that sent chills down Mike's spine. Mike leaned forward, his interest piqued. This was bigger than he had imagined. "The Syndicate? What else did you hear?" Mike's voice was urgent, desperate for more information. "They said Howard was getting too close," Armando continued, his gaze fixed on his coffee cup. "Too close to something dangerous, that he had evidence against them. Evidence that could bring them down. Evidence that could bring them down. The kind of evidence that people would kill to keep hidden." He finally met Mike's gaze, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and defiance. And then, he was gone. Just like that, Howard disappeared. The weight of Armando's words settled over Mike like a shroud. The truth was more complex and dangerous than he had ever imagined. He had stumbled upon something dangerous, a conspiracy that stretched far beyond a simple smear campaign. This was a web of deceit and power. Captain Howard hadn't been corrupt. He had been silenced. Silenced for getting too close to the truth. And the key to clearing his name, to uncovering the truth, might lie with the young man sitting across from him. Mike knew he had to dig deeper, no matter the cost. Working with Armando was like navigating a minefield. Every step was fraught with danger, every decision a potential disaster waiting to happen. The young man was volatile, unpredictable, haunted by his own demons. His past was a labyrinth of secrets and shadows, each more troubling than the last. But he possessed information, crucial pieces of a puzzle that Mike desperately needed to solve. Without Armando, the trail would go cold, and the answers would remain buried. Armando led him to a hidden world, a digital underworld of hackers, informants, and whispers of the Syndicate. It was a place where trust was a rare commodity, and betrayal lurked around every corner. They tracked down a lead to a notorious hacker known only as Phantom, rumored to have connections to both the criminal underworld and corrupt officials. Phantom was a ghost in the machine, elusive and dangerous. Phantom operated out of a clandestine club, a haven for tech-savvy outlaws hidden in plain sight. The club was a fortress of secrets, guarded by layers of encryption and loyal followers. The club pulsed with energy, a cacophony of music, flashing lights, and the incessant tapping of keyboards. It was a digital symphony, a chaotic blend of sound and light. Mike and Armando, disguised as high rollers, moved through the crowd, their eyes scanning the room for any sign of their target. They had to blend in, to become invisible in the sea of faces. They found him in a darkened corner, hunched over a bank of monitors, his fingers dancing across the keyboard with lightning speed. Phantom was in his element, a maestro of the digital realm. As they approached, Phantom suddenly spun around, his eyes widening in alarm. He had sensed their presence, his instincts honed by years of evading capture. "You shouldn't be here," he hissed, his voice barely audible above the din. His words were a warning, a plea, and a threat all at once. Before either Mike or Armando could react, the club plunged into chaos. The air was thick with tension, the atmosphere electric with fear. Gunfire erupted, shouts and screams piercing the air. The once vibrant club was now a battlefield, a place of terror and confusion. The thump of bodies hitting the floor, the acrid smell of gunpowder filling the air. It was a scene of carnage, a nightmare come to life. They had walked into an ambush. The realization hit them like a punch to the gut, the cold truth of their situation sinking in. Mike, his instincts taking over, pushed Armando down, shielding him with his body as bullets flew past them. He had to protect him, no matter the cost. He drew his own weapon, returning fire, trying to create an opening, a chance to escape. Every shot was a gamble, every move a risk. The club, once a hive of illicit activity, had transformed into a war zone. The battle raged on, a brutal clash of wills and weapons. The Los Angeles night shimmered. The city, a sprawling metropolis, was alive with 1,000 lights, each one telling a different story. From the glitzy high-rises to the dimly lit alleyways, every corner of this city had a secret. Tonight, one of those secrets was about to unfold under the cover of darkness. Streetlights cast a yellow glow on the empty highway. The road stretched out like a ribbon, winding through the city and into the unknown. It was a silent witness to countless tales of ambition, desperation, and daring. Tonight, it would bear witness to another. A lone semi-trailer rumbled through the darkness. Its engine's hum was a steady heartbeat against the quiet night. This truck was more than just a vehicle. It was a vault on wheels, carrying treasures that many would risk everything to possess. Its precious cargo cutting-edge electronics, ripe for the taking. These were not just gadgets. They were the latest in technology, worth a fortune on the black market. For those in the know, this truck was a moving goldmine. Out of the shadows, 3 Honda Civics emerged, modified, sleek, and hungry. This was their dance. These cars were built for speed and precision, their drivers skilled and fearless. They had one goal tonight, to intercept the truck and claim its cargo. The Civics surrounded the truck, moving in unison. It was a choreographed ballet of metal and speed, each car playing its part to perfection. The drivers communicated with subtle gestures and signals, their coordination flawless. One Civic, driven with precision, sidled up beside the trailer. The driver, eyes focused and hands steady, matched the truck's speed perfectly. This was the critical moment where timing and skill would make all the difference. A figure emerged from the sunroof, a ghost against the night sky. Clad in black, he moved with the grace of a dancer and the stealth of a predator. Every movement was calculated, every action deliberate. He was daring, a tightrope walker on the edge of a knife. He jumped. The gap between the car and the truck was a chasm, but he crossed it with ease, landing silently on the trailer. This was his domain, the realm of the impossible. Inside the truck's cabin, the driver was oblivious. He was just another cog in the machine, doing his job and unaware of the storm brewing around him. The hum of the engine and the soft tunes from the radio were his only companions. He hummed along to the radio, clueless about the ballet of speed unfolding around him. The world outside his window was a blur, a tapestry of shadows and lights. He had no idea that he was at the center of a high-stakes heist. The figure on the hood worked quickly. His hands moved with the precision of a surgeon, each motion practiced and efficient. He knew he had only moments to complete his task before the truck reached its destination. He hotwired the trailer doors, his movements swift and practiced. The lock yielded to his touch, a testament to his skill and experience. This was not his first heist, and it would not be his last. With a pneumatic hiss, the trailer doors swung open. The sound was a signal, a herald of what was to come. Inside, the cargo lay waiting, a treasure trove of technology ready to be claimed. Crates of electronics illuminated by the moon were exposed. The heist was on. This was their lifeblood. Each crate represented a payday, a reward for their daring and skill. They moved with purpose, knowing that every second counted. It was exhilarating, dangerous, and over in a flash. The thrill of the heist was a drug, a rush that they chased with every job. But they knew that the real challenge was not in the taking, but in the getting away. Just like that, they were gone. The night swallowed them up, leaving no trace of their presence. The city continued to shimmer, unaware of the drama that had just played out on its streets. For the thieves, it was just another night in Los Angeles, another chapter in their story. Brian O'Connor ran a hand through his sun-bleached hair. The California sun had left its mark on him, giving his hair a golden hue that made him look like he belonged on a surfboard, rather than in the gritty streets of Los Angeles. But Brian was no surfer. He was a man on a mission. He was new to the LAPD, eager to prove himself. Fresh out of the academy, he had a lot to learn, but even more to prove. His superiors saw potential in him, a raw talent that needed to be honed. They decided to throw him into the deep end, hoping he would swim rather than sink. His assignment: infiltrate the city's underground street racing scene. It was a world where speed was king, and the law was just another obstacle to be outrun. The streets came alive at night, engines roaring, tires screeching, and the smell of burning rubber filling the air. It was a dangerous world, but one that Brian was determined to conquer. The prime suspects, Dominic Toretto and his crew. They were legends in the racing world, known for their skill and their tight-knit bond. Dominic was the leader, a man who commanded respect and loyalty from his crew. They were more than just a team. They were a family, bound by a code that outsiders could never understand. They were a myth, a whisper in the exhaust fumes. Stories of their exploits were told in hushed tones, each tale more unbelievable than the last. They were ghosts, appearing and disappearing in the blink of an eye, leaving only the echo of their engines behind. To catch them, Brian would have to become one of them, Brian's cover, a gearhead with a need for speed. He had to immerse himself in their world, learn their language, and earn their trust. He spent hours in the garage, getting his hands dirty, learning the intricacies of car engines and modifications. It wasn't just about the cars, it was about the culture, the unspoken rules that governed their world. He bought a beat-up Nissan Skyline, its engine throbbing with potential. It was a car with a history, much like Brian himself. He saw the potential in it, the raw power waiting to be unleashed. He spent countless nights working on it, tuning it, making it his own. It was more than just a car, it was his ticket into their world. He knew he had to prove himself, earn their respect. It wouldn't be easy. Respect in the racing world wasn't given, it was earned, one race at a time. He had to show them that he was more than just a cop, that he understood their world and could keep up with them. It was a daunting task, but Brian was ready for the challenge. These weren't just racers, they were a family. They looked out for each other, had each other's backs. It was a bond forged in the heat of competition, strengthened by the shared thrill of the race. To be accepted by them, Brian had to become one of them, not just in skill but in spirit, bound by loyalty, fueled by adrenaline. The rush of the race was their lifeblood, the thing that kept them coming back night after night. It was an addiction, a need for speed that could never be fully satisfied. Brian felt it too, the pull of the race, the desire to push himself and his car to the limit. His first foray into their world was at a deserted warehouse. It was a place that seemed forgotten by time, hidden away from the prying eyes of the law, the perfect setting for an underground race. The warehouse was alive with activity, cars being prepped, engines revving, the air thick with anticipation. The air crackled with anticipation, the scent of gasoline heavy in the air. It was a heady mix, the smell of fuel and the promise of speed. Brian could feel the tension, the excitement building as the racers prepared for the night's event. This was it, his chance to prove himself. Cars, gleaming under the dim lights, were prepped for battle. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering, modified to perfection. They were more than just machines. They were extensions of their drivers, each one reflecting the personality and skill of its owner. Brian's Skyline stood among them, ready to make its mark. Brian felt a surge of adrenaline. This was what he had been working towards, the moment he had been preparing for. The thrill of the race, the challenge of proving himself. It all came down to this. His heart pounded in his chest, his hands tingled with anticipation. This was it, his chance, the moment he had been waiting for. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. He knew that this race could make or break him, that his future with the LAPD and his place in the racing world depended on it. He parked his Skyline, the engine sputtering to a stop. The car had come a long way, transformed from a beat-up relic to a racing machine. It was a testament to his hard work and determination. a symbol of his commitment to the mission. All eyes turned to him, their gazes judging, assessing. He could feel the weight of their scrutiny, the unspoken challenge in their eyes. They were sizing him up, trying to determine if he was worthy of their respect. It was a test, one that he was determined to pass. This was Dominic Toretto's domain, the man who ruled the streets with an iron fist, whose name was spoken with reverence and fear. Dominic was a legend, a man who had earned his place at the top through skill and determination. To earn his respect was to earn the respect of the entire racing community. And Brian was just a trespasser, an outsider trying to find his place in a world that wasn't his. He knew that he had to tread carefully to navigate the delicate balance between being a cop and being a racer. It was a tightrope walk, one misstep and he could lose everything. He had to tread carefully. Every move he made was being watched. Every word he spoke was being analyzed. He had to earn their trust, to prove that he was one of them. It was a daunting task, but Brian was ready. He had come this far, and he wasn't about to back down now. The roar of engines was deafening. It was a symphony of power and raw energy, echoing through the night and sending shivers down the spines of everyone present. The anticipation was palpable, a thick fog of excitement and tension hanging in the air. This was no ordinary race. It was a battle of wills, a test of mettle, and a showcase of skill. The street was their arena, and the cars were their gladiators, ready to fight for glory and respect. Brian gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of what was at stake. He could feel the vibrations of the engine through his hands, a powerful beast waiting to be unleashed. Every muscle in his body was tense, coiled like a spring, ready to react in an instant. This was his moment, his chance to prove himself. The weight of expectation bore down on him, but he welcomed it. It fueled his determination, sharpened his focus. This wasn't just about winning a race. It was about proving his worth. To himself, to his peers, and to the man who stood at the starting line. The city streets blurred past, a chaotic backdrop to the high-stakes drama unfolding. Each turn, each acceleration, was a step closer to either triumph or defeat. The other racers were formidable, their skills honed to perfection. But Brian had something to prove, and he wasn't going to back down. Dominic Toretto, a man of few words and even fewer smiles, stood by the starting line. His presence was commanding, a silent challenge to anyone who dared to face him. He was a legend in the racing world, a figure of respect and fear. His reputation was built on countless victories, each one a testament to his skill and determination. As he watched the racers prepare, his eyes were sharp, missing nothing. He was a predator, and this race was his hunt. His eyes, dark and intense, seemed to see right through Brian. They were eyes that had seen countless races, countless victories and defeats. They were eyes that judged, that measured a man's worth in seconds and milliseconds. Brian could feel the weight of that gaze, a silent challenge that pushed him to be better, to be faster. It was a test, and he was determined to pass. The flag dropped. Engines screamed, tires screeched. The race was on. The cars shot forward, a blur of color and motion. The sound was deafening, a cacophony of power and speed. Brian's heart raced with the car, his focus narrowing to a single point, the finish line. Every second counted, every decision mattered. The adrenaline surged through his veins, sharpening his senses, heightening his awareness. This was what he lived for, the thrill of the race, the rush of competition. Brian pushed his skyline to the limit, the engine roaring its defiance. The car responded to his every command, a finely tuned machine of speed and power. He could feel the strain, the effort it took to maintain control at such high speeds. But he was in the zone, his mind and body working in perfect harmony with the car. Every turn, every acceleration was a dance, a symphony of motion and precision. He was good, but he knew he had to be better. He was good, but these racers were on another level. They drove with a skill and aggression that bordered on madness. Each one was a master of their craft, pushing their cars and themselves to the absolute limit. The competition was fierce, each racer fighting for every inch of asphalt. It was a battle, a war of speed and skill. Brian knew he had to dig deep, to find that extra gear, that extra bit of speed and control. He couldn't afford to hold back. They drove with a reckless abandon that bordered on artistry. Each drift, each turn was a calculated risk, a testament to their skill and courage. The cars danced on the edge of control, a ballet of speed and precision. It was beautiful and terrifying, a display of pure, unbridled talent. Brian watched and learned, adapting his own style to match theirs. He was a quick study, and he knew that to win, he had to be as good as they were, if not better. Lap after lap, the race raged on. The cars roared past, a blur of speed and power. The tension was palpable, the stakes higher with each passing second. Brian could feel the strain, the effort it took to keep up with the leaders. But he was determined, his focus unwavering. He pushed himself and his car to the limit, refusing to give up. This was his chance, and he wasn't going to let it slip away. The smell of burning rubber filled the air, a testament to their skill and desperation. The tires screamed in protest, leaving black marks on the asphalt. It was a brutal, beautiful dance of speed and power. The cars roared and screeched, a symphony of mechanical fury. Brian could feel the heat, the intensity of the race. It was a test of endurance, of skill, of willpower, and he was determined to pass. Brian, despite his best efforts, was falling behind. The other racers were relentless, their skill and speed unmatched. He could feel the gap widening, the finish line slipping further away. But he refused to give up. He pushed harder, digging deep into his reserves of strength and determination. This was his moment, and he wasn't going to let it slip away without a fight. He could feel their eyes on him, their doubt palpable. The spectators watched with bated breath, their hopes and fears reflected in their eyes. They wanted to see a hero, a champion, and Brian was determined to be that for them. He could feel their energy, their support, and it fueled his determination. He wasn't just racing for himself, he was racing for them, for their belief in him. Then, in a moment of pure instinct, he hit the nitrous. The world seemed to slow down, the roar of the engine drowning out everything else. The car surged forward, a rocket on wheels. The acceleration was breathtaking, a sudden burst of speed that left everything else behind. Brian could feel the power, the raw, unbridled force of the nitrous. It was a gamble, a risk, but it was his only chance. The skyline surged forward, a rocket on wheels. The gap closed in an instant, the finish line rushing towards him. Brian's heart pounded in his chest, his focus razor sharp. This was it, the moment of truth. He could see Dominic ahead, the finish line just beyond. He pushed harder, the car responding to his every command. The world blurred around him. The only thing that mattered was the finish line. He crossed the finish line, mere inches ahead of Dominic. The roar of the crowd was deafening, a wave of sound that washed over him. He had done it. He had won. But as the adrenaline faded, the reality of what he had done began to sink in. The cost of victory, the sacrifices he had made. It was a bittersweet moment, a triumph tinged with regret. He had won, but at what cost? The race was over, but the journey was just beginning. Brian knew that this was just the first step, the first of many challenges he would face. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of reflection, a moment to savor the victory. He had earned his stripes on the asphalt, and he was ready for whatever came next. Shifting gears, shifting loyalties, trust and suspicion in the driver's seat. Winning the race earned Brian a seat at the table, but not their trust. He was accepted into their world, but always with a watchful eye. Dominic's crew, a motley crew of skilled drivers and loyal friends, were wary of the newcomer. There was Letty, Dominic's fiercely loyal girlfriend, her eyes always assessing. Jesse, the youngest of the group, a whiz with electronics but prone to panic. Leon, the quiet observer, his loyalty to Dominic unwavering. Brian found himself drawn to their camaraderie, their unwavering loyalty to each other. He began to question his own motives, his own allegiances. Was he really willing to betray their trust to close his case? The line between duty and friendship blurred with every stolen laugh, every shared adrenaline rush. Brian was living a double life, and the weight of his secret threatened to crush him. Whispers of doubt, the shadow of Johnny Tran. The heists continued. Each one was bolder, more daring than the last. The LAPD was baffled. The pressure mounted on Brian to deliver results. He dug deeper, his suspicions turning towards Dominic. But something didn't add up. Dominic, despite his flaws, had a code. He wouldn't tolerate innocent people getting hurt. And then there was Johnny Tran, Dominic's arch rival. Tran was ruthless, his ego as big as his engine. He moved with an air of menace, his eyes cold and calculating. Brian had eyes when he looked at Dominic. It was pure hatred. Could Tran be behind the heists, using them to frame Dominic and eliminate his competition? The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place, but Brian needed proof. He had to tread carefully. One wrong move could ignite a war. The year is 2154. Humanity stands at a crossroads, facing an unprecedented crisis that threatens the very fabric of civilization. Earth is a shadow of its former self. Once bustling cities now lie in ruins, shrouded in a perpetual haze of pollution and decay. Decades of relentless consumption have left the planet depleted. Resources are dwindling, and the environment is on the brink of collapse. Forests have been razed, oceans polluted, and the air is thick with toxins. The lifeblood of civilization energy is running out. Fossil fuels, once abundant, are now scarce, and the remaining reserves are fiercely contested. Humanity faces a bleak future. The streets are filled with despair, and the infrastructure that once supported modern life is crumbling. In this time of desperation, a glimmer of hope emerges from the stars. Scientists and explorers turn their gaze to the heavens, seeking salvation beyond our world. Pandora, a distant moon orbiting the gas giant Polyphemus in the Alpha Centauri system, holds the answer to Earth's energy crisis. This celestial body, with its unique environment, offers a potential lifeline for humanity. Pandora is home to unobtainium, a rare mineral with unimaginable energy potential. This substance, glowing with an ethereal light, promises to revolutionize energy production and restore hope to a dying Earth. Its value is immeasurable, enough to fuel Earth for generations. The discovery of unobtainium has sparked a new era of exploration and exploitation. The Resources Development Administration, or RDA, a powerful corporation driven by profit, spearheads the mission to Pandora. With vast resources and cutting-edge technology, they are determined to secure unobtainium at any cost. Their goal is clear: to extract unobtainium at any cost. The RDA's operations are relentless, driven by the promise of immense wealth and power. However, Pandora is not a barren rock ripe for exploitation. It is a vibrant ecosystem teeming with life, much of it hostile to human life. The moon's lush jungles and diverse flora present both opportunities and challenges. It is a vibrant ecosystem teeming with life, much of it hostile to human life. The native creatures, both majestic and dangerous, pose a constant threat to the human presence on Pandora. The atmosphere is toxic, forcing humans to wear exomasks to breathe. The air, rich in gases deadly to humans, necessitates advanced technology for survival. The rainforest is a symphony of bioluminescent flora and fauna, both beautiful and deadly. At night, Pandora transforms into a glowing wonderland, with every plant and creature emitting a mesmerizing light. At the heart of Pandora's ecosystem, and the key to its survival, is Awa. This central life force connects all living things on the moon, creating a delicate balance that sustains the environment. Awa is more than just a network of interconnected life. It is a sentient consciousness. This entity, revered by the native Na'vi, is the guardian of Pandora's natural harmony. It is the very essence of Pandora. The moon's vibrant ecosystem thrives under Awa's watchful presence, creating a world unlike any other. To navigate this dangerous new world, the RDA has developed the Avatar program. This groundbreaking initiative allows human consciousness to be transferred into genetically engineered bodies known as avatars. Human consciousness is transferred into genetically engineered bodies, avatars, that are hybrids of human DNA and Na'vi DNA. These avatars are designed to withstand Pandora's harsh environment and interact with its native inhabitants. These avatars can breathe Pandora's air, withstand its dangers, and most importantly, interact with the native Na'vi population. This interaction is crucial for the RDA's mission, as the Na'vi hold the key to accessing unobtainium-rich areas. The stage is set for a clash of civilizations, a struggle for survival and dominance over Pandora's invaluable resources. The Na'vi, fiercely protective of their home, stand in opposition to the RDA's relentless pursuit of unobtainium. The fate of two worlds hangs in the balance, with the future of humanity resting on the outcome. The battle for Pandora is not just a fight for resources, but a fight for the very soul of two civilizations. Imagine a world bathed in the ethereal glow of bioluminescence, a place where the night is alive with a soft, otherworldly light, illuminating the landscape in hues of blue and green. This is not a dream, but a reality on Pandora, a moon that exists in the Alpha Centauri star system. Here, the flora and fauna have evolved in ways that defy our earthly understanding, creating a symphony of light and life that is both mesmerizing and mysterious. Towering trees, ancient and wise, pierce the sky, their branches interwoven to create a breathtaking canopy overhead. These trees are not just silent sentinels, they are the lifeblood of Pandora, their roots reaching deep into the ground, connecting with the very essence of the moon. The canopy they form is a world unto itself, a complex ecosystem teeming with life. From the smallest insects to the largest predators, this is Pandora, a moon that captivates the senses and challenges the very notion of reality. Its landscapes are a blend of the familiar and the fantastical, where every step reveals a new wonder. The air is thick with the scent of exotic flowers, and the sounds of unseen creatures echo through the dense foliage. It is a place where the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural blur, creating a world that is as enchanting as it is dangerous. Its heart beats with the rhythm of Awa, a neural network connecting all living things. This network is the very soul of Pandora, a living, breathing entity that binds every creature and plant in a web of life. Awa is not just a concept, it is a tangible force, felt in every heartbeat, every rustle of leaves, and every whisper of the wind. It is a reminder that on Pandora, everything is connected, and every action has a consequence. The air hums with unseen energy, a testament to the powerful bond between Pandora's flora and fauna. This energy is palpable, a constant presence that fills the air with a sense of vitality and purpose. It is a reminder that on Pandora, life is not just about survival, but about thriving in harmony with the environment. The forest is alive with the sounds of creatures going about their daily lives, each one playing a role in the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Creatures of extraordinary beauty and lethal grace roam this alien landscape. From the smallest insect to the largest predator, each one is a marvel of evolution, perfectly adapted to its environment. These creatures are not just passive inhabitants, they are active participants in the dance of life on Pandora, each one playing a role in the complex web of existence. Their beauty is matched only by their danger, a reminder that on Pandora, life is a constant struggle for survival. From the majestic Leonopteryx, the airborne predator that rules the skies, to the smallest insect that scurries along the forest floor, every creature on Pandora is a testament to the power of evolution. The Leonopteryx, with its vibrant plumage and powerful wings, is a symbol of the untamed beauty of Pandora, a reminder that in this world, even the skies are filled with wonder and danger. To the fearsome viper wolves that stalk the forest floor, their eyes glowing with a predatory light. These creatures are the embodiment of the dangers that lurk in the shadows of Pandora, a reminder that in this world, beauty and danger are two sides of the same coin. The viper wolves, with their sleek bodies and razor-sharp teeth, are a testament to the harsh realities of life on Pandora, where every day is a battle for survival. Life on Pandora is a delicate dance between beauty and danger. Every creature, every plant, every element of the landscape is part of a complex web of life, where each one plays a role in maintaining the balance. This balance is fragile, constantly shifting, and always on the brink of collapse. It is a reminder that on Pandora, life is a precious gift, one that must be cherished and protected. The humans, confined to their fortified base, can only experience Pandora's wonders through the eyes of their avatars. These avatars, genetically engineered to resemble the native Na'vi, allow humans to explore the moon without the need for cumbersome protective gear. But this connection is not without its risks, as the humans must navigate the complex social and cultural dynamics of the Na'vi, while also dealing with the dangers of Pandora's environment. These genetically engineered bodies, towering over the Na'vi, represent both an opportunity and a threat. They are a bridge between two worlds, allowing humans to experience the wonders of Pandora firsthand. But they are also a reminder of the potential for exploitation and conflict, as the humans seek to extract the moon's valuable resources, often at the expense of the native inhabitants. They are a testament to human ingenuity, but also a symbol of their ambition and potential for destruction. The technology that allows humans to create these avatars is a marvel of science, but it is also a reminder of the lengths to which humans will go to achieve their goals. This ambition is both a strength and a weakness, as it drives humans to explore and innovate, but also to exploit and destroy. As the humans delve deeper into Pandora's secrets, they become both enthralled and terrified by its power. The moon's beauty is matched only by its danger, and the humans must constantly balance their desire for knowledge with their need for caution. Every discovery brings new wonders, but also new risks, as the humans navigate the complex and often treacherous landscape of Pandora. The line between exploitation and respect begins to blur, setting the stage for a conflict that will determine the fate of two worlds. The humans and the Na'vi are on a collision course, their differing values and goals creating a tension that threatens to erupt into violence. This conflict is not just about resources, but about the very soul of Pandora, and the future of both the moon and its inhabitants hangs in the balance. Jake Sully, a former Marine paralyzed from the waist down, is a man haunted by loss and searching for purpose. Once a proud soldier, he now finds himself confined to a wheelchair, his dreams of adventure and heroism seemingly out of reach. The stars, once a symbol of endless possibilities, now serve as a constant reminder of what he has lost. His days are filled with a sense of emptiness, and his nights are plagued by memories of battles fought and comrades lost. Jake's life has become a monotonous routine, devoid of the excitement and purpose that once defined him. His twin brother, a scientist chosen for the Avatar program, dies tragically just before deployment. The news hits Jake like a tidal wave, leaving him reeling with grief and a profound sense of loss. His brother was not just family but also his closest friend and confidant. They shared a bond that went beyond mere genetics, a connection that was now severed forever. The Avatar program, a groundbreaking initiative aimed at exploring the alien world of Pandora, was his brother's dream, a dream that Jake had always admired but never fully understood. Now, that dream seemed to die with him. With his brother's memories and genetic material still viable, Jake is offered the chance to take his place. The offer is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it provides Jake with an opportunity to honor his brother's legacy and find a new sense of purpose. On the other hand, it forces him to confront the painful reality of his own limitations and the daunting challenges that lie ahead. The decision weighs heavily on him, but ultimately, the desire to walk again and the need to escape his current existence drive him to accept the offer. Driven by a mix of grief, guilt, and a desire to walk again, Jake accepts the offer and embarks on a one-way trip to Pandora, a world both alluring and terrifying. The journey is long and arduous, filled with moments of doubt and fear. As the spaceship hurtles through the vast expanse of space, Jake's mind races with thoughts of what awaits him on Pandora. He knows that the path ahead will be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he is determined to see it through. The promise of a new beginning, a chance to reclaim his life, is too powerful to ignore. He is thrust into a world far beyond his comprehension, where the line between reality and fantasy blurs. Pandora is a place of breathtaking beauty and unimaginable peril, a world where the rules of nature are rewritten and the boundaries of human understanding are constantly challenged. The vibrant flora and fauna, the towering mountains and cascading waterfalls, all seem to belong to a different realm, a place where magic and science coexist in perfect harmony. For Jake, it is both a dream come true and a nightmare realized, a place where he must learn to navigate a new reality. Upon arrival at Hell's Gate, the heavily fortified human base on Pandora, Jake encounters a world of contradictions. The base is a stark contrast to the lush, vibrant landscape that surrounds it, a fortress of steel and concrete in the heart of a living, breathing ecosystem. The air is thick with tension, a palpable sense of unease that permeates every corner of the base. The soldiers and scientists who inhabit this place are driven by conflicting motives, their actions guided by a complex web of ambition, fear, and curiosity. For Jake, it is a place of both opportunity and danger, a place where he must find his footing and prove his worth. The air is thick with tension. The base is a hive of activity, with people moving purposefully through its corridors, their faces etched with determination and worry. The scientists are driven by a relentless curiosity, eager to unlock the secrets of Pandora and push the boundaries of human knowledge. The military personnel, on the other hand, are focused on their mission to protect the RDA's interests, their every move calculated and precise. The two groups coexist in a delicate balance, their interactions marked by a mix of cooperation and conflict. Scientists driven by curiosity and wonder work alongside hardened military personnel tasked with protecting the RDA's interests, whatever the cost. The lab is a place of intense activity, with researchers poring over data and conducting experiments, their minds racing with possibilities. The soldiers, meanwhile, stand guard, their eyes scanning the room for any signs of threat. The two groups are united by a common goal, but their methods and motivations are often at odds. For Jake, this environment is both inspiring and intimidating, a place where he must learn to navigate the complex dynamics of human ambition and survival. The weight of his mission, to infiltrate the Na'vi and gain their trust, settles heavily on Jake's shoulders. The Na'vi, the indigenous people of Pandora, are a proud and noble race, deeply connected to their land and their traditions. Jake's task is to learn their ways, to understand their culture, and ultimately, to persuade them to cooperate with the RDA's plans. It is a mission fraught with ethical dilemmas and personal challenges, a test of his resolve and his character. The burden of this responsibility is immense, and Jake knows that failure is not an option. Little does he know that his journey will challenge his perceptions, reshape his loyalties, and force him to confront the darkness within his own heart. As he immerses himself in the world of the Na'vi, Jake begins to see the world through their eyes, to understand their deep connection to Pandora and their unwavering commitment to protecting it. This newfound perspective forces him to question his own beliefs and loyalties, to confront the inner demons that have haunted him for so long. The journey is not just a physical one, but a profound emotional and spiritual transformation, a journey that will change him in ways he never imagined. He is a reluctant hero, thrown into extraordinary circumstances that will push him to the very limits of his physical and emotional endurance. The challenges he faces are immense, the stakes higher than he ever imagined. But through it all, Jake discovers a strength and resilience he never knew he possessed, a determination to fight for what is right and to protect the world he has come to love. His journey is one of self-discovery and redemption, a testament to the power of the human spirit and the enduring quest for purpose and meaning.
Rita Mora Castro, a lawyer of unparalleled brilliance, stood in the silent courtroom. The air still crackled with the echo of her victory. She had just secured the acquittal of a high-profile defendant. Yet, instead of exhilaration, she felt a chilling emptiness. The weight of her success felt heavy, meaningless. Her client, a man of questionable morals, walked free. Justice, it seemed, was a fickle mistress. Rita craved something more, a case that resonated with her soul. Little did she know, fate had a twist in store, a case that would challenge her very notion of justice, identity, and redemption. The man before her was a study in contradictions. His presence was commanding, yet there was a softness in his demeanor that hinted at a deeper, more complex story. He was a figure who had seen the darkest corners of life, yet now stood on the precipice of a profound personal revelation. Juan Manitas del Monte, a notorious cartel kingpin, exuded an aura of power and danger. His reputation preceded him, a man feared by many and respected by few. His life had been a tapestry of violence, control, and unyielding authority. Yet his eyes held a flicker of vulnerability, a desperate plea for understanding. It was as if the weight of his past actions bore down on him, and he sought redemption in the most unexpected way. His gaze was a silent cry for help, a yearning for acceptance. He had come to Rita with an extraordinary request, a journey of transformation. This was not just about changing his appearance, it was about reclaiming his identity, about finding peace within himself. He needed someone who could see beyond his past, someone who could help him navigate this treacherous path. Manitas yearned to shed his skin, to embrace his true self as Emilia. This was a dream he had harbored in the deepest recesses of his heart, a dream that had been overshadowed by the life he had led. Now, he stood on the brink of making it a reality. He wished to transition, to live authentically as a woman. Rita was taken aback. She had dealt with many clients, each with their own unique challenges, but this was unlike anything she had ever encountered. The stakes were incredibly high, and the risks were monumental. This was uncharted territory, fraught with danger and uncertainty. The legal implications alone were staggering, not to mention the societal backlash that was sure to follow. Rita knew that helping Manitas would mean stepping into a world of peril and controversy. Could she, a lawyer bound by societal norms, champion such a radical transformation, especially for a man with Manitas' past? The question gnawed at her, but she also felt a stirring of empathy and a sense of duty. This was more than a legal case. It was a human story, a quest for identity and acceptance. Rita had to decide if she was willing to take on this monumental challenge, to stand by Manitas as he sought to become Emilia, and to fight for his right to live authentically. Bangkok's vibrant chaos provided the backdrop for Emilia's metamorphosis. The journey was arduous, marked by physical pain and emotional turmoil. Rita stood by her side, a pillar of support in a world that seemed determined to reject Emilia's truth. The surgery was successful, but the real transformation was internal. Emilia blossomed, her spirit soaring as she shed the shackles of her former life. Yet the shadow of Manitas loomed large. His past sins, his enemies, they were all lying in wait, ready to pounce on the woman he had become. Returning to Mexico, Emilia faced the daunting task of confronting her past. Her cartel, once loyal to Manitas, now saw her as a liability, a weakness to exploit. Her empire crumbled, her power waning as whispers of her true identity spread like wildfire. betrayal cut deep, a constant reminder of the price of truth. Rita, ever vigilant, navigated the treacherous waters of Emilia's new reality. She became her shield, her confidant, fiercely protective of the woman Emilia was struggling to become. The most heart-wrenching challenge awaited Emilia at home. Her daughter Isabella refused to accept her father's transformation. Years of resentment, fueled by a life shrouded in secrecy and violence, created an unbridgeable chasm. Emilia's attempts at reconciliation were met with icy silence, her daughter's pain a constant ache in her heart. Rita witnessed the raw agony of a parent yearning for acceptance, the devastating consequences of a life built on lies. Section 6. Shadows of the Past. The cartel, threatened by Emilia's vulnerability, saw an opportunity to reclaim their lost power. Their vengeance was swift and brutal, a campaign of terror designed to break her spirit. Rita, her legal expertise pushed to the limit, fought tirelessly to protect Emilia. But the law, it seemed, was a feeble weapon against the cartel's ruthlessness. They were fighting a losing battle, the shadows of Manitas's past threatening to consume them both. Section 7. A Life Unlived, a Life Remembered. This is the story of Emilia, a woman whose life was marked by courage, defiance, and an unwavering commitment to her truth. Her journey, though fraught with challenges, serves as a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit. In a final act of defiance, Emilia confronted her enemies. She stood tall, her eyes blazing with determination, as she faced those who sought to silence her. Her voice, though trembling, carried the weight of her convictions. She knew that this confrontation was not just for her, but for all those who had been oppressed and marginalized. There was no fear, only a quiet dignity as she faced her executioners. Her calm demeanor in the face of imminent death was a testament to her inner strength. She had accepted her fate, knowing that her sacrifice would not be in vain. Her serene expression spoke volumes, conveying a sense of peace and acceptance that left a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. She had made peace with her past, embraced her truth, and in that moment, she was finally free. Her life had been a series of battles, each one shaping her into the resilient woman she had become. As she reflected on her journey, she found solace in the knowledge that she had lived authentically, true to herself and her beliefs. Rita, devastated by her friend's death, vowed to keep her memory alive. She held on to the memories of their time together, cherishing the moments of laughter and joy. Lighting a candle in Emilia's memory became a ritual, a way to honor her friend's legacy. At the gravesite, Rita's tears were a testament to the deep bond they had shared, a bond that transcended death. Emilia's life, though tragically cut short, had been a testament to the transformative power of authenticity. Her journey was filled with moments of profound self-discovery and growth. Each experience, whether joyous or painful, had contributed to her understanding of herself and the world around her. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that living authentically, despite the challenges, is a path to true fulfillment. She had lived a life unlived, embraced a truth denied, and in her death she ignited a spark of hope for others like her. Her legacy is one of resilience and courage, inspiring countless others to stand up for their truth. The symbolic imagery of hope and resilience that her story evokes continues to inspire and empower those who face similar struggles. Emilia's life and death remind us that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope, a spark that can ignite change. Section 8. The Legacy of Emilia Perez. News of Emilia's death spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of controversy. To some, she remained a ruthless criminal, undeserving of sympathy. To others, she became an icon, a symbol of courage and resilience in the face of adversity. Rita, driven by grief and a profound sense of injustice, dedicated herself to honoring Emilia's legacy. She became a vocal advocate for transgender rights, her voice echoing Emilia's struggle for acceptance. Section 9. A March for Emilia. A year after Emilia's death, a march was organized in her honor. It was a day that many had marked on their calendars, a day to remember, to reflect, and to take action. The streets were filled with people from all walks of life, each one carrying a piece of Emilia's story in their hearts. They came not just to mourn, but to celebrate her life and the impact she had on so many. Thousands gathered, a sea of faces united in their demand for equality and justice. The air was thick with a sense of purpose. a collective determination to make a difference. As they marched, their footsteps echoed the rhythm of their shared resolve, each step a testament to their commitment to change. They carried banners bearing Emilia's image, their voices rising in unison, a chorus of defiance against intolerance and hate. The banners were not just symbols, they were declarations of their unwavering belief in a better world. Each chant, each slogan was a call to action, a plea for justice that resonated deeply with everyone present. Rita, standing at the forefront, felt a surge of emotion. She had been Emilia's closest friend, and the loss had left a void that nothing could fill. Yet, seeing the crowd, she felt a sense of hope. It was as if Emilia's spirit was walking with them, guiding them, giving them strength. Rita's eyes welled up with tears, but she held her head high, determined to honor her friend's legacy. It was a bittersweet victory, a reminder that even in death, Emilia's spirit continued to inspire, to challenge, to transform. The march was not just a tribute, it was a movement, a living testament to the power of one person's courage to ignite change. The candles they held flickered in the wind, but their resolve remained unshaken. Her journey of redemption, born in the shadows of violence and secrecy, had become a beacon of hope, illuminating the path towards a more just and compassionate world. Emilia's story was a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a glimmer of light. Her legacy lived on in the hearts of those who marched, a testament to the enduring power of love, resilience, and the unyielding quest for justice.
The roar of the crowd was deafening. Thousands of spectators filled the seats of Madison Square Garden, their cheers echoing off the walls and creating a symphony of excitement and anticipation. The energy in the air was electric, a palpable force that seemed to vibrate through every person present. Yet, Connor McLeod heard nothing but the clang of steel and the quickened beat of his own heart. His focus was absolute, his mind a fortress against the cacophony surrounding him. Every muscle in his body was coiled, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. His blade met that of Iman Fasil, sparks showering into the darkness of the arena. The clash of their swords was a symphony of metal, each strike a note in a deadly composition. The sparks illuminated their faces, revealing the intensity and determination etched into their features. This was no ordinary duel. This was a battle fought across centuries, a secret war waged beneath the oblivious gaze of mortals. The arena, though modern, seemed to transform into a timeless battlefield, where the past and present collided in a dance of death. McLeod, a man seemingly in his prime, moved with a speed and ferocity that belied his years. His movements were a blur, a testament to the centuries of combat experience that had honed his skills to perfection. Each swing of his sword was precise, each step calculated. Centuries of experience had honed his instincts to a razor's edge. He fought not just with strength, but with the wisdom of countless battles. His eyes, sharp and unyielding, missed nothing, always searching for the slightest hint of weakness in his opponent. He parried each blow with precision, his eyes searching for a weakness in his opponent's defense. Every move was a dance, a deadly ballet where one misstep could mean the end. His concentration was fierce, his determination unwavering. Facile, agile and cunning, was a worthy adversary. His movements were fluid, his strikes swift and unpredictable. He fought with a grace that belied the deadly intent behind each attack. The two warriors were evenly matched, their skills a testament to their long and storied histories. Their blades danced, a whirlwind of steel. The sound of metal on metal was relentless, a constant reminder of the stakes of this battle. Each clash was a test of strength, skill, and endurance, pushing both fighters to their limits. Each strike was a lightning bolt, charged with power and purpose. The force behind their blows was immense, each one capable of ending the fight in an instant. The energy of their combat was almost tangible, a force that seemed to crackle in the air around them. The air crackled with energy. It was as if the very atmosphere was charged with the intensity of their duel, a silent witness to the epic struggle unfolding within the arena. The spectators could feel it too, their excitement and tension building with each passing moment. Around them, the world faded away. Only the fight remained. The noise of the crowd, the lights of the arena, all became distant memories as the two warriors focused solely on each other. In that moment, nothing else mattered but the duel. Then, in a flash, it was over. The final strike came with a swiftness that took everyone by surprise. The culmination of their battle, a single moment that decided the outcome of their epic struggle. MacLeod, with a swift and decisive move, disarmed Facile. His sword flew from his hand, clattering to the ground as the crowd gasped in unison. The duel had reached its climax, and the victor stood tall, his eyes still burning with the intensity of the fight. The crowd held its breath, the silence almost unbearable. The energy that had filled the arena moments before was now replaced with a tense stillness, as everyone waited to see what would happen next. In that moment, time itself seemed to stop. The world held its breath, suspended in the aftermath of the duel. The intensity of the battle lingered in the air, a reminder of the epic struggle that had just taken place. The Highlands of Scotland, 1536, a raw, untamed beauty. The landscape, with its rolling hills and mist-covered peaks, seemed almost otherworldly. It was a place where legends were born, and myths took on a life of their own. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of ancient pine trees and the earthy aroma of damp soil. It was a land that held secrets, whispered through the rustling leaves and the gentle flow of streams. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Every breath taken in this mystical place felt like a connection to the past, to the countless generations that had walked these lands before. The fog that rolled through the pine forests added an element of mystery, shrouding the landscape in a veil of secrecy. It was in this enigmatic setting that the story of Conor MacLeod began to unfold. It was here, amidst the heather and the glens, that Conor MacLeod, a young warrior of the clan MacLeod, first tasted the bitter truth of his destiny. As a young man, Conor was full of life and vigor, eager to prove himself in battle and bring honor to his clan. Little did he know that his fate was already sealed, written in the stars long before he took his first breath. He remembered the battle against the menacing Kurgan as if it were yesterday. The clash of swords, the cries of the wounded, and the smell of blood filled the air. It was a day that would forever change the course of his life. The Kurgan, a fearsome warrior with a reputation for brutality, was unlike any enemy Conor had ever faced. His presence on the battlefield was like a dark storm, bringing death and destruction in his wake. The clash of steel, the screams of dying men, the chilling laughter of the Kurgan as he cut through Conor's comrades. Each swing of the Kurgan's sword was precise and deadly, leaving a trail of fallen warriors in its path. Conor fought valiantly, but he was no match for the Kurgan's sheer strength and ferocity. The battlefield was a chaotic symphony of violence, a brutal dance of life and death. Then the Kurgan's blade found him, a searing pain ripping through his side. The world seemed to slow down as Conor fell to the ground, his vision blurring from the agony. He could feel the life draining from his body, the cold embrace of death closing in. In that moment, he was certain that his time had come, that he would join his ancestors in the afterlife. He should have died that day. By all accounts, his wounds were fatal, and no mortal man could have survived such an injury. The battlefield was littered with the bodies of the fallen, a grim reminder of the cost of war. Conor's comrades lay around him, their lifeless eyes staring into the void. It was a scene of utter devastation, a testament to the brutality of the Kurgan's assault. He should have joined his fallen brethren. The weight of his mortality pressed down on him, and he felt a profound sense of sorrow for the lives lost that day. The battlefield was silent now, the echoes of battle fading into the distance. It was a place of mourning, where the living paid their respects to the dead and remembered the sacrifices made. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the battlefield, something miraculous happened. Connor's wounds began to heal, the pain subsiding as if it had never been. He rose from the ground, his body restored to its former strength. It was as if he had been given a second chance, a new lease on life. He rose from the ground, his wound miraculously healed. The scar that remained was a reminder of the battle he had fought, but it was also a symbol of his newfound resilience. He was no longer the same man who had entered the battlefield that day. Something within him had changed, something that set him apart from the rest of humanity. The look on the Kurgan's face, a mixture of shock and rage, was forever burned into his memory. The Kurgan had believed he had claimed another victim, but instead, he had unwittingly unleashed something far more powerful. Connor's survival was an affront to the natural order, a defiance of the laws of life and death. It was a moment that would haunt both men for the rest of their lives. He was different now, touched by something ancient and powerful, something that defied the natural order of life and death. He was immortal. This newfound immortality was both a gift and a curse, a burden that he would carry for eternity. It set him on a path filled with challenges and adversaries, but also one of discovery and self-realization. Connor MacLeod's journey had only just begun, and the Highlands of Scotland would forever be etched in his soul as the place where it all started. 1985. New York City, a sprawling metropolis, was a place where dreams were made and broken. The city never slept, its streets alive with the hustle and bustle of millions of souls, each with their own story to tell. New York City throbbed with a chaotic energy. The air was thick with the sounds of honking taxis, the chatter of street vendors, and the constant hum of life. It was a city that thrived on its own frenetic pace, a place where the past and present collided in a whirlwind of activity. But for Connor MacLeod, the city was merely another backdrop in the grand theater of his existence. He moved through the crowded streets like a ghost, unnoticed and unremarkable. To the untrained eye, he was just another face in the crowd, but those who looked closer could sense there was something different about him. He had lived through centuries, witnessed empires rise and fall, seen the face of the world change time and again. From the ancient highlands of Scotland to the bustling streets of New York, MacLeod had seen it all. The weight of history was etched into his very soul, a constant reminder of the passage of time. Yet, the past was never truly gone. It lingered, a constant shadow. Memories of battles fought and lost, of friends and foes long gone, haunted him. The ghosts of his past were always with him, whispering in the dark corners of his mind. The duel with Fassel had drawn unwanted attention. The clash of steel in the dead of night had not gone unnoticed. It was a reminder that no matter how much he tried to blend in, his past would always catch up with him. The police, led by the tenacious detective Robert Kurgan, swarmed around him, their faces etched with suspicion. Kurgan was a man who thrived on solving puzzles, and MacLeod was the most intriguing puzzle he had ever encountered. The detective's instincts told him there was more to MacLeod than met the eye. They sensed there was something more to him than met the eye. The way he carried himself, the look in his eyes, it all hinted at a deeper story. They couldn't put their finger on it, but they knew he was different. It was as if he was out of place, out of time. They couldn't explain it, but they knew he was different. The evidence from the scene of the duel was baffling. There were no clear answers, only more questions. The police were left scratching their heads, trying to piece together a puzzle that seemed to defy logic. Meanwhile, Brenda Wyatt, a beautiful and brilliant criminalist, found herself drawn to the mystery surrounding MacLeod. She was a woman of science, driven by a need to understand the world around her. The evidence from the duel was unlike anything she had ever seen, and it piqued her curiosity. The evidence from the duel was like nothing she had ever seen. It defied explanation. The metal of the swords, the way they had been forged, it was all wrong. It was as if they belonged to another time, another world. Brenda's mind raced with possibilities, each more fantastical than the last. Her scientific mind craved answers, but the truth, she would soon discover, was far stranger than anything she could have imagined. The mystery of Connor MacLeod was about to unravel, and with it, the secrets of a past that refused to stay buried. He appeared in Connor's life like a bolt from the blue, a flamboyant Spaniard who called himself Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez. Ramirez was another immortal, one who had walked the earth for centuries, and he knew the secret of Connor's true nature. Under Ramirez's tutelage, Connor began to understand the true extent of his abilities, the immense power that coursed through his veins. He learned of the gathering, the inevitable clash of immortals that had played out across the ages, a battle to the death for a mysterious prize. More importantly, he found in Ramirez a kindred spirit, a friend who understood the burden of immortality, the loneliness of living a life outside of time. But their time together, like all things in Connor's life, was destined to be cut short. The Kurgan, the same monstrous immortal who had taken Connor's first life centuries ago, found them. The Kurgan was a force of nature, a whirlwind of violence and sheer cruelty. He craved the prize with every fiber of his being, and he would stop at nothing to claim it. Their training ground became a battleground, the air thick with the smell of ozone and blood. Ramirez, despite his age and wisdom, was no match for the Kurgan's raw power. He fell, as all immortals eventually must, his head severed from his body. Connor watched in horror, his heart ripped apart by grief and rage. But Ramirez's death was not in vain. With his dying breath, he transferred his knowledge and power to Connor, entrusting him to be the one to defeat the Kurgan and claim the prize. The mantle of responsibility was passed, and Connor, fueled by grief and vengeance, vowed to avenge his fallen friend.